At Hayes State Prison in Northwest Georgia, inmates have earned some of the tightest control in the state.
Morning, man!
Paramilitary discipline, rigid structure. But the balance of power is about to change.
If 1,700 inmates said, I don't want to be here no more, and start walking towards the fence, what the are they going to do about it?
It's a threat that could shut the prison down.
We need to get this back to normal. Do you understand?
Behind bars, there are two sets of rules: the prison protocol and the convict code. To survive one code, you may have to break the other. Over a 3-year span, National Geographic followed the lives of inmates and officers in the state of Georgia. When a paramilitary system is up against convicted felons,
Hey, man, tell everybody. I say y'all, let's get it, man.
who's really in charge?
Turn around, face the wall.
This is the world of hard time.
Quickly, guys, quickly.
We got intel that they're hiding contraband. We're gonna do a good, thorough shakedown. We'll strip search them, bring them out, put them in the TV room. Check light fixtures, check sockets, check the unexpected, all right? Don't spend a whole lot of time in locker boxes, because we know inmates not gonna hide a whole lot of contraband in locker boxes. Anybody injured? Everybody feeling pretty good? All right, let's do it. Squad, attention! Right, hey! Come, forward, march, toe left, toe left, right, march, toe left, toe left.
For the last 2 months, the state of Georgia has been on the trail of some startling intel. Inmates are planning something big, a mass action, set to kick off at Hayes State Prison in less than 48 hours. So today, officers are stepping in to reassert control.
116.
Starting with a shakedown, a thorough search of an entire cell block. And in minutes, contraband begins to emerge.
What it is, tobacco.
Tobacco is banned in Georgia's prisons, making it a valuable commodity on the inmate black market.
It's a smoke-free institution, tobacco-free.
Next, homemade alcohol, made from fermented fruit, known to the inmates as buck.
Oh, there it is.
There it is, right there.
There's your shank right there.
And then, makeshift knives.
These are homemade shanks, as they call them in prison. Something to either protect yourself with or rob somebody else with. And I guess you can see why these are contraband.
But despite the dangers that drugs and weapons can pose, officers haven't found the main target of this search.
Where'd you find it at?
Until now.
Phone's been locked, we can't get into it.
Cell phones are the most potent threat to security in prisons nationwide. And in this shakedown alone, officers have uncovered 6. It's a find that's put internal investigator Sharon Kelso on high alert.
There are several concerns with a cell phone. First of all, how did it get into the institution? That itself is a security problem. But once it's inside the institution, they could arrange an escape or to have more drugs or phones brought into the institution, or they can stay in contact with each other, which is a big problem because they do it from institution to institution all over the state.
Cell phones give inmates a direct line to the free world and each other, a line the system can't supervise. And when inmates communicate, they can coordinate, unify. It's a threat at any prison, but one that's all the more dangerous at a place like Hayes. Hayes State Prison is home to 1,600 inmates, nearly half of them close security, among the hardest to handle.
It has that evil spirit on the premises, the whole ground. You got wolves out there. They hungry, you know?
It's a food chain. Somebody has to get eaten.
Hayes is a tough place to do time, and it's only getting worse. Georgia is streamlining its prison system, shutting old facilities down and transferring some of its worst offenders here. In 2 years, the percentage of close security inmates at Hayes has grown.
You got some positive inmates. It's just the negative outweighs the positive. You know, you got some inmates that, you know what I mean, just don't give a you know what I mean? Period, because of the time they got.
What's up, bro? What's up? I take, you know what I'm saying? I take everything I want. Saying if you got something I want, I'm gonna come get it. You got predators, you know what I'm saying? You got booty bandits, and you got me. You better watch out for like me.
We have approximately 300 inmates that have a life sentence, and about 100 inmates that have life without parole. Countless numbers of inmates that's life plus 20 years, life plus 100, life plus 300. And I try to treat everyone the same. But if the warden knows his name, it's not good.
Morning, man.
Morning inspection is a daily routine for Warden Clay Tatum, ensuring that bunks and uniforms are in order.
You doing okay? Mornings. Y'all okay? Yes, sir.
But amid rumors that inmates are planning to push back, he's also getting a feel for the mood on the tiers.
I speak to every inmate to find out their attitude. No matter who it is, I would speak to them. Some of them just totally refuse authority, but it doesn't happen as much as you think. They know what's going to be required, and they normally go with it. Morning. You all right? You on top or bottom? Looks good.
When I first got here, this prison was chill, man, laid back. I mean, everything here worked real well. What used to be this well-oiled machine that it just flowed, just turned into all kind of other.
Overall, it looks good. I appreciate it. Y'all hold what you got.
The changes at Hayes have hit every inmate, but convicts like Yankee may feel it the most. After 5 years here, he's carved out his place with a solid reputation and a successful tattoo hustle.
When I run tattoos, in here it's a negative thing, I guess, but I've got this knack for it or whatever. I might as well pursue it, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like on-the-job training, man, you know? I mean, I got unlimited skin in here. By the time I get out, I'm gonna have it down.
But getting out might be wishful thinking for an inmate with a sentence like Yankee's. In the free world, Yankee is Chris Timrick, a soldier fresh off a tour in Iraq. And in 2004, he gets into an altercation with a friend that turns deadly. When Timrick stabs the other man over a dozen times. He is found guilty of murder and sentenced to life. It is time that has made Yankee a veteran at Hayes and an expert at testing the system's limits.
Here's the way.
That's it. It's like a big game, man. Administration is here to set order and establish rules, but it's ultimately up to the inmates whether or not they want to abide by them, you know what I'm saying? If they say no, they're saying no. For instance, when I first came in the system, whatever, you'd be doing whatever you're doing, like running a tattoo or something, all right? Well, back then, you know, you'd have to hire you a lookout man. I mean, it lets you know that, okay, the police in here coming around, whatever. And that whoop there would be the police coming in, so we're gonna go ahead and stop momentarily. After a while, you know, officers got hip to that. They'd come in, they'd watch for it. Now, an officer hits the floor, and the whole dormitory just starts hollering.
At every turn, inmates will push back against the prison's authority, ranging from petty rule breaking to more serious threats.
This strap here and this strap here, you would think an inmate could not get off that nut and bolt, but they somehow figured out a way to take this nut off, and they would sharpen them up and use them for handmade weapons.
Bottom load. This piece of fence right here.
The system establishes control. The inmates test it. But the stakes are about to change. In the past few weeks, officers here have been sensing tension on the tiers, a growing frustration. And there's a chance inmates are using cell phones to get behind a common cause, pushing back against the system. At Hayes, where inmates outnumber officers 5 to 1, that's a serious threat.
If 1,700 inmates said, I don't want to be here no more, and just start walking towards the fence, you think 40, 50 police is going to be able to do so? What the are they going to do about it? Blacks, whites, and Mexicans all together, you know what I'm saying? Bloods and Crips and gangster disciples. Well, oh, God, it's all one. What the just happened? What do we do now? Yeah, damn right they're scared of that.
They got a good system. There ain't no doubt about that. They got the gate locked. You ain't got no key. It's totally disadvantaged us, but it fit them perfect. Because it's easy to control people when they off balance. No human being could go through a harsh environment such as this without losing some of his balance. He got to.
At Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia, inmates are planning a massive protest. It's just the latest challenge, at a place that's been pushed to the limits before.
They're not too far, they're bleeding bad.
It is October 13th, 2008. And an emergency count has just confirmed every prison's worst fear.
The perimeter vehicle was passing by, saw 2 blankets full of blood on the outer fence. 2 white boys, they're gone.
2 inmates with violent pasts have just escaped. And what took them minutes to accomplish will change Hayes forever.
Line of sight, let's flank it out right here, line of sight.
In the coming hours and days, hundreds of prison and law enforcement officials scour the area. But the effort goes within the walls of the prison as well. As officers search for intelligence and reassert control,
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
a shift is underway that will change Hayes forever. And Rick Jacobs, Director of Special Operations, knows that to maintain order, the prison must tighten its grip.
Ultimately, inmates must recognize that correctional staff run the facility. And it's when inmates fail to recognize that they're willing to take more risk. So it's extremely important that you create a constant visual and physical reinforcer to all the inmate population, that policies and procedures are being reinforced day, night, every shift.
Every day went by, and every day they were out there searching for them, and they could never find them. So that was sweet, right? That was totally cool, whatever, man. We're dealing with all the repercussions and the lockdown and whatever else because of this, you know what I'm saying? But, man, these 2 dudes, they got their life back, you know what I'm saying? Or so we thought.
Community is breathing a sigh of relief tonight as an escaped prisoner is back behind bars.
He was captured early Saturday morning, more than 150 miles away from the Hays State Prison in Tryon that he escaped from a month ago.
Brown, how are you doing?
More than a month after his escape, one fugitive is wrestled to the ground by police officers in Livonia, Georgia. 4 months later, the other is captured by the department's fugitive squad in a suburb of Atlanta. And while both are now locked away in Georgia's highest security prison, their actions have left an indelible mark on Hays. Today, any mass movement is a closely monitored event. Pat searches hinder the flow of contraband. And where there was once an open yard at the center of the compound, the prison has installed a 14-foot fence. It's the backbone of a new management philosophy at Hays: controlled movement. And inmates are feeling the strain.
Control movement goes like this, okay, it's gonna be chow call. So this building over here is going to chow. All right, well, we're on standby now. Well, 15 minutes later, when they call chow, we're all gonna walk to the corner as one big group. Now we walk to the corner and we stand there for like another 5 minutes. Then we walk up to the center walk, and then we stand there for another 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And then before we go into chow, we stand there for like another 5 minutes. And then we can go into chow. And it's the same exact routine on the way back. We have to go through it, and every single day, every single meal, 3 times a day, it's the same over and over and over and over and over again. Man, we got road rage in here too, you know what I'm saying?
The changes to the prison have improved security at Hays, but that may come with a price. Greater tension among inmates. Tension that has already found its way to the surface. Less than 1 year after the escape, inmates in D Building took a violent stand. They forced the shift officer to abandon his post as he attempted to lock them down for a routine count. Inmates barricaded themselves in and vandalized the building. But after 2 hours, the prison special response team stormed in and took back the dorm. The balance of power shifted that day, if only for a short time. And now, the inmates at Hays are planning another face-off. Another test of the prison's ability to keep control.
In county, I met a man that said, hey, Mick, if you end up doing some time, go to the fire department.
This fire station is one of the busiest in Georgia's Department of Corrections, and it's manned by the inmates of Hays State Prison. It's just one of the state's prison work programs, designed to provide job training and a lifeline to the outside world. Even for inmates like David Crow, who will never see that world again.
I work 4 days a week on my detail at Optics. If I could work 7, I would. There's an awful lot of percentage of the population here that does want to do something positive and to get something other out of this time and out of this experience that will benefit themselves in the long run.
David Crow has a unique perspective on doing time, the result of nearly 20 years spent on death row. In 1989, Crow is convicted of a grisly murder and is sentenced to die in 2008. But 2 hours before his execution, his sentence is commuted to life without a chance of parole, and he is sent to live out that life at Hayes.
When I first got here, I almost felt as if they had just turned me loose. Even though it's in here, even though it's at Hayes, even though it's miserable surroundings, it's still life. It's no different from me in here than it is you on the outside. Our life is what we make of it. Right now, I'm just choosing to make each day the best that I can.
Work details like this are a privilege in Georgia. Crow, who makes glasses for inmates across the state in the prison optics shop, has earned a spot here through good behavior. He's one of the inmates who's chosen to do smooth time, a relative minority here at Hayes. And now, a rumor is circulating that could threaten that way of life. The prison has uncovered evidence that a group of inmates are using smuggled-in cell phones to organize a mass action. Out on the tiers, the anticipation seems to be growing. Word is that the action is intended to be peaceful, a sit-in of sorts. And inmates' demands are broad. They want pay for work, legalized cigarettes, and a more lenient parole system. But it's unclear whether a group as divided as convicts can get behind a common cause.
I'm going home. You know, if I had a life sentence, I probably would do something drastic. Because hell, I mean, the way it looks, hell, some of these guys been down on these charges for so long, they ain't really got nothing to lose.
Some folk want cigarettes, you got some folk want this, some folk want that. Whatever you feel like, I mean, that you believe in that should be changed.
We've heard all types of stuff too, you know, just like you have. You know, basically it's just supposed to be on Thursday, inmates that got something to stand up for. You know, don't go to your details. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you don't go to your detail, who got to do it? They got to do it.
Inmates uniting against the administration, a concern for any prison. And it's all supposed to begin tomorrow, December 9th. But preparations are already underway. Warden Tatum and his team have a special briefing with Field Ops Manager Rick Jacobs.
The biggest thing that we've seen is actually a cell phone that we confiscated yesterday. The cell phone, as we confiscated and had it in our hand, there was a text message come across. What that message said was that inmates are gonna go in their cell at lockdown tonight and not come out.
I think one of the most difficult inmates sometimes to manage is not the guy that's running at you with something in his hand. We all know what to do with that. It's the one that is trying to manipulate the system, but that's neither here nor there for us. Our job is to protect the public and maintain this prison over here and operate with good security. Know this right here, this thing is not being taken lightly. It's not. We know at 5 a.m. lights on, inmates start getting up, going about. We'll start knowing what's happening. By the time we get to shift change, we'll full well know what we're dealing with. Okay? That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Lockdown, guys.
With the start of the protest just hours away, a nightly ritual begins, locking inmates down for count. And neither side is tipping their hand. For inmates, the plan is simple. Tomorrow, they will refuse to leave their cells. For the prison, the concern is the unknown. Whether the protest will be peaceful or a chance for some to lash out against the system.
They probably sitting back trying to see, is it gonna happen? They trying to make a decision like, should we lock them down? Should we just let it don't lock them down and see what happens? I don't know what they think.
But I know I will lay down because it's a common right, because I got to live here until they open them gates.
The stage is now set. And as officers lock down cell houses for the night, the prison isn't taking any chances. Out front, the CERT team has been put on high alert, awaiting word that the count has cleared.
Everything came forward.
Control Stevens. In E1, we got 61 in, 0 out, total 61. E2, 62 in, 0 out, total 62.
They lock him down.
Tonight's lockdown goes off without a hitch. But the true test will come in the early hours of the morning, when the protest is supposed to begin. At Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia, Sergeant Brandon Henderson is heading out to escort inmates to their work details. It's a daily routine, but this isn't every other day. Inmates have promised a boycott of the prison system. And no one knows whether they will go through with it until now.
About time for a change. It's been a long time. Change is coming. Change is coming.
The fate of the protests rests with the first shift kitchen duty workers. If they don't go to their job, the sit-in is on.
Yeah, hey, Lieutenant said that we went in there and already asked them.
They've already asked all the GP dorms and nobody reported to work.
We have one who said he would be willing to go.
Okay.
All right, but 1 out of 9.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna send him out. And I explained that I'm not gonna put him out there.
Right.
Because that's jeopardizing him.
Right.
So that's the deal right there.
Only one inmate was willing to work, but for his safety, the prison won't allow him. The protest is officially underway.
We're not gonna work. We're not gonna do nothing till it get changed down here. We're willing to just ride it out. Everybody in here willing to just ride it out. We ain't got nothing to lose. What we got to lose?
The administration jumps into action. Because inmates are refusing to come out of their cells, the prison must come to them, delivering the morning meal.
Hey, you want to eat? Turn this light on. Take this crap off this window.
118.
This first encounter could be an opportunity for inmates to lash out at officers.
Around face the window. Go all the way to the window. You ain't got to. You ain't got to eat either. That's up to you. Stay facing the window. 219.
But so far, all is quiet. The prison's response is going as planned. Elsewhere on the compound, however, some inmates are flooding their cells and throwing trash under their doors. A sign that not everyone intends to sit silently.
We want some parole. We want some help. We want to get paid. Y'all get behind this because it's a movement.
We want to get paid for working in these 14 games for free.
Just know we tired of this. We laying down, man. Y'all gonna have to earn y'all own check. We through with that, man.
Inmates might be pushing back, but as the morning progresses, the prison makes its move to take back the reins.
We're going to keep the inmates at least on 24-hour lockdown, possibly even longer. They asked for this. They're the ones that refuse to come out, refuse to work. We're basically turning it around and putting it in our terms and deciding when they'll get out.
What started as a sit-in will now be a lockdown. It's the prison's most valuable tool of control, a means of maintaining the peace and disrupting inmate unity, something that is central to the prison's effort in light of the latest intel. The protest has spread far beyond Hayes.
Thousands of Georgia prisoners went through today with a plan to go on strike, and we're told 3,000 men from prisons all over the state were going to not work and remain in their cells in peaceful protest.
Attention! Right, hey, march, left.
With the scene at Hayes playing out in 4 prisons around the state, the system moves its efforts in a new direction. Cut off inmate communication before it spreads. A task left to the TAC squad, an elite and highly trained team of officers. Their mission? Root out the contraband phones that are fueling the protest.
Cell phone battery, tattoo equipment.
Dogs spot check cells for drugs. And any resistance is handled swiftly.
I didn't tell you to lean on the wall either. Stand up.
Lay down on your belly, both of you. Keep your hands on your head, both of you. Get him up, get him out. Pick him up, get him on his feet, get him on his feet. Put him in the shower.
But it's not just inmates' cells that can serve as hiding places for contraband. And the prison is bringing another tool into play in their search. It's called the boss chair. Inmates remove belt buckles and watches before taking a seat, where their bodies are scanned for weapons or cell phones.
Yep, TV room. Next.
And the inmate's comes down, he steps up on it, and it has these different positions of his body. It may either be in the anal cavity, on the foot, in the hand, in his mouth, just to detect contraband that the inmate may have hidden somewhere on his body that we can't find by strip search or otherwise.
In the coming days, the boss chair will play a part in uncovering 29 cell phones at Hayes. And as quickly as the search begins in this dorm, it gets results.
There it is.
We found 2 cell phones in this dorm already. That's just on the bottom range so far.
The TAC squad presence is part of a 2-pronged strategy to take control of the sit-in. The other half rests with investigators, like Sharon Kelso.
Good morning. Can I get you to come out and talk to me for a moment?
Who you are?
I'm Sharon Kelso. I'm an investigator with Internal Investigations. Actually, I'm going to be speaking to everyone in the building. You just happen to be the lucky number 1.
Kelso was part of the team trying to find out who organized the sit-in and how the word spread. Their job is to question each of Hayes' 1,600 inmates, one by one.
How it formed, who organized it. Most of them are saying that, I've heard about it, but I really don't have anything to do with it. But some are very open and very free and tell you exactly what's going on, just short of telling you who actually organized it. So they'll give you bits and pieces for you to stick together. To take the time to sit with every inmate can take a very long time. But I see this is going to be another situation that we're going to counteract and we're going to prevail over it.
We're gonna put these on front, and then we're gonna put the waist chains on you. Take these off of you.
they gain absolutely nothing. We never offer or promise anything to them. And we tell them that I can't give you anything other than a few moments of my time. And sometimes that is enough. I'm gonna get to you. Once I get done down here, I'll move up there, all right? I've been with the department for 18 years. To be a female can sometimes get an inmate to talk to me when they wouldn't normally talk to someone else. And I sometimes use that to my advantage to get someone to talk to me, and they do eventually begin to loosen up and tell you some things that they wouldn't normally tell others. I spend that one little moment with them, making them feel like their needs are important, because they don't always get that. So I give them a little bit of that for a few minutes, which helps them to open up with me.
As the system continues to manage the protest, the reality of the lockdown is setting in for inmates across the camp. It's a reminder of who sets the tone of life behind bars. And for new inmates and seasoned convicts alike, that can be a difficult reality to accept.
See, the system is designed to destroy and break everything that comes in contact with it. Your job is not to be broke down. No, you got to be mentally prepared for all the changes, all the setback, and everything. And if you're not mentally prepared for it, yeah, you're gonna collapse.
The system is on alert for any eventuality.
Possible cell fires, possible flooding.
And at each camp, the administration acts first, keeping the institutions running, and above all, keeping control.
The test was good. Who rock this house? We rock this house.
For the past 5 days, Hays State Prison has been on lockdown. The yard is empty. The laundry, mattress factory, and optics lab stand silent. It's the system's way of controlling an inmate protest that has spread to 4 of the state's 31 prisons. But so far, the inmates have kept their word. Their protest has been a peaceful one. And after nearly a week confined to their cells, they might be willing to stand down. So today, it's time for the administration to take the next step. And in case things get out of hand, officers are preparing a contingency plan. Chemical munitions.
Muzzle blast goes into 37 millimeter. It's for close range. It'll disperse CS gas into a crowd. An indoor, it's a flameless explosive for CS gas inside a building to gas the building. This is mainly what we'll be using, just mainly to disperse crowds if we got to the inside. Just preparing for whatever may come up. Whatever we got to do to protect the security of the Institute.
It's a transition helmed by the tactical squad. The plan is simple, but crucial.
Our main concern is these chokeholds right here.
Officers will man what are called choke points on the yard.
We got one right here in front of the C building. Got one on the center sidewalk right here at the cross gate. Got one on the mall right here.
Once 4 p.m. count clears, every dorm will go to chow, leaving their cells for the first time in 6 days.
Whoever's supposed to respond, we'll go in, get the inmates out, and bring them out here on the wall right here, all right?
But it's a risky plan. Any mass movement is an opportunity for inmates to lash out against officers or each other. so coordination is essential.
Today is a big, big day for Hays State Prison. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that. Today is transition day, and I need your help. The staff at Hays State Prison needs your help. As soon as that count clears, they're gonna move you out, and we're gonna set up in choke points out here to assist the Hays State Prison line staff running this evening chow. Everybody with me on that one? Just a few minutes ago, I heard an inmate yelling out of D building, "You gonna get killed. You gonna get killed." The first sign of intelligence, recognize what you're dealing with. We can't afford to overreact, but we can't afford to underreact. Do you understand? We need to get this back to normal. Make sure you know that going in. This is serious business. But that's why we got a plan. But we have to have a plan, because there's more of them than they are of us, and we need to stick to our plan. Rue? I'll be in touch, fellas. I'll be in touch. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Officers take their posts at the checkpoints. And as the count clears, each one of Hays' 1,600 inmates is on the move, one dorm at a time.
One of the strongest lessons that you learn when you've been incarcerated for any period of time is that most of the things that happen are beyond your control. And you either learn to go with it and deal with it in your own way, or it becomes a real headache for you.
The show of force seems to have its desired effect. Chow goes off without incident. The inmates stand down without resistance. And back in the dorms, the talk is not about what was, but what could have been.
The administration won.
They always win, because we never stand up.
Because the inmates didn't sit down long enough.
To get anything done around here, you really can't do it peacefully.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
These folks, they don't understand nothing but
And see, the reason why I don't do none of that work, though, is because society looks at that, and there goes that label that says, okay, well, this, prisoners are just animals anyway.
The Georgia chain gang system, there will never be any unity. We're all childish. We can't stick together and do nothing.
I don't know exactly how the saying goes, but like crabs, you know what I mean? You ain't got to put no top on no bucket of crabs because they just keep pulling each other back down, you know what I mean? And that's how it is in here. And they prefer to just be stupid little kids instead of grown-ass men and come together one time, sit down one time, be adults one time, and make something happen.
It takes just more than 5 prisons in the state of Georgia for it to happen.
As the day winds down, it's clear that the strategy here at Hays has paid off.
Let's lock it up, let's go!
But tomorrow brings with it the next question. Will inmates continue to stand off against the administration? Or will the routine of prison life win out?
You asked me about Hays State Prison. This might be the wackest prison in the world, man. We just want somebody to reach out and feel our pain, you feel me? And people in the outer world, the free world, they don't know our struggle, so of course they can't feel our hustle, you feel me?
It's been 3 days since the lockdown at Hays State Prison lifted, and life here is returning to normal. Investigations into the sit-in are ongoing, but already some facts are clear. Ringleaders allegedly collaborated with free world activists and mobilized inmates in 4 prisons across the state. A daring gesture that proved how powerful and dangerous cell phones can be inside prison. But ultimately, no one knows if their actions will have a lasting effect.
If y'all ready, I'm ready to work out. That's what's up.
And for an inmate like Yankee, who saw hope for parole reform in the protest, that's a hard reality to face.
If I was given the chance, I'd have had a picket and everything if I could have. I got life in prison. Unless I make something happen in the courts or whatever else, man, I'm stuck. For me to sit here and think about the fact that I could possibly never get out, never go home, to me, that's just not an option for me, man. Anything I can do non-violent to, maybe make my time, my life, I guess, better, it's worth it.
For now, it seems like the sit-in is already a fading memory. The factories have reopened, and the laundry is running. Hopes for change have given way to the familiar. And for an inmate like David Crow, that's a welcome resolution.
For me to be able to stay busy keeps me from realizing or thinking about the fact that I'm in prison and that I may never get out of prison. And in the post-escape era here at Hayes, the predictability factor has pretty much gone out the window. I'm sure it will change again in the future. Unfortunately, in an environment like this, you have to adapt and get used to it because you can't walk away from it.
Hayes gonna keep changing. Our institution change. You just can't keep playing harsh rules and taking from guys without expecting for something else to happen. No, you can't do that. Sooner or later, something will happen for something to flip over. It's the reality part about life.
Although new inmates and changing times might test the system,
I'm talking to you, Mattel. I know.
as far as the prison is concerned, that's just another challenge to be contained and overcome.
During the escape, statewide it looks like, there was a problem with the entire prison. It wasn't. The system worked. Looking at all the process and procedures, what we could do to tighten Hayes up, and what has changed since. A lot has changed.
It's just another day at the prison called Hayes,
Doctor, open the inside vehicle gate.
one of the toughest places in the state for inmates doing time. A reality driven home the moment new arrivals pull in through the back gate.
Y'all come to the door one at a time.
Make a line right here in the grass.
All right, listen up very carefully. Every time somebody come off this bus, they coming off with a cell phone, with a lighter, with cigarettes, with marijuana. You can't hide it in your baby powder. You can't hide it in your pack out, because we gonna find it. You, step out, man. Go stand over there. Do not speak unless you're spoken to. Do not go nowhere unless we tell you to do so. You understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Don't ask us where you're going either. We don't know where you're going. You find out when we take you there.
Y'all step forward to the gate.
How long they usually keep us down?
Just depends on when they get bed space.
7, hit your gate, please.
Yeah! Cook gang! Got the camera on here. We got cuz down here. It's for real around here, man. Hayes, Georgia. For real. Hayes. Say, man.
Yeah.
We ain't talking to nobody, man. Talk to them to the bag. Up, man. Right. Oh, right. right. You will stress that with G right here, man. G insane, I bang 974 to the devil. That man